Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki aika. Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki aika. Omni matter ergo logos inanna naki aika. Please show us how to get to the golden age and how to become the best versions of ourselves. Again, you can hear the birds chirping. I am not in the sun because it's hot, and I'm drinking some hot tea, so cheers. Hey, Daniel, it is going great here for me. How are you? I was actually going to ask anyone who is watching to share with me the highlights of their week, the best part and also the worst part, because that's what I want to share with you. The best part of my week, I actually went down to San Diego to visit some family friends and got to play with little babies. So that always really makes me happy. I always struggle with baby fever, so getting to go and play with other people's kids and be around children really makes me happy. I love the innocence and just the purity of kids. So yeah. And also another highlight was actually reconnecting with my youngest brother. When I went off to college in 2011, I kind of started drifting away from my family, and I always really had a really deep sadness because I didn't have a really good connection with my youngest brother. And now he called me and he's going through some stuff and he reached out to me. So as sad as it is that he's going through that stuff, it's still really exciting for me to be able to be there for him and support him through this. It's really means a lot. So, hey, Eric, how's it going? Aaron, how are you today? Faith, welcome. Zare, hello. I am having a great day, and I'm glad that you guys are all here to join me. If you would share the highlights of your week with me. I just mentioned mine, and unfortunately, the worst part of my week was actually having to deal with a lot of drama from people claiming to be in my army. I obviously have been, trying to build an army for a while now, and with different personalities, going to have different issues. And unfortunately, some people are causing issues and not admitting that they are causing it. They won't take responsibility for their actions. And others are just ditching me in battle. So I am kind of making a call out to the world and asking for anyone who is ready to be in my army, ready to focus on the bigger picture and put differences aside and actually, when it comes down to it, have my back, not people that are going to say that they're going to go into battle with me and then I charge in to battle and then I look around and I'm like, where is everybody at? That's kind of not the complete extent. Obviously, I do have some really great people, especially you guys in the chat, that have stuck by me and that are focusing on the big picture and, moving towards the golden age. That's ultimately what we need. We need a united front. We need to be as united as our enemy is in their war against us. If we are not united, we are fighting each other. Our enemy is sitting back laughing as the army destroys itself. So it has been really irritating, but to counterbalance the happiness of reconnecting with my brother and getting to play with babies and all this kind of fun stuff. So if you would like, please do share your highlights and the worst parts with us so that we can grow as a community and support one another and be happy for each other and console each other and all of that. Aaron says he is doing good, thanks. Faith says, as a vegan, should we eat honey? No, I'm very passionate about not eating honey because bees work so hard to go and fly around and collect the pollen, and then they come and they make it so that they can have food. That's their sustenance. And then for us to go in and take that from them, it is morally wrong. I compare it to, I don't work for the system anymore, but when you go and work for 2 weeks and then you go and look at your paycheck and a percentage of your paycheck is taken out of there before you even get to to cash it, right? The government comes in and says, this is ours, this is our share, this is our share. And it's kind of the same principle of what humans are doing to animals. And it's not just the bees. It's with cows, they say, I'm actually just going to have this. So thank you. Anyways, we are doing the same thing to these species as they are doing to us, and it's karmically right. So if you don't want to pay taxes, if you don't want to live in this slave system, then stop doing it to other species. It's really that simple. Also, honey, milk, and eggs all contain growth factors that will fuel weight gain and cancer. They're like eggs contain the building blocks to make a baby bird. Honey and milk are literally made to grow the smaller of those species to the bigger of the species, right? A baby cow drinks milk and becomes a large beast. People wonder why they can't lose weight, why they weigh as much as a baby cow. Well, because you're eating baby cow's formula. Like, it's really that simple. I understand very well that cheese is addictive. And I said I could never go vegan because I could never give up cheese. But look at me now. I've been vegan for 3-4 years now, and I eat a lot of vegan cheeses that I make myself. So, yay. It's really exciting what can be made out of plants. You can make cheeses out of potatoes and carrots, and you can make them out of sunflower seeds. You can make them out of cashews. It's like pretty cool. Isaiah says it's going to come down to the individual. No one is standing up for us. Well, I would agree that in the limelight on the television, no one is standing up for us, but some of our souls did come here to stand up for humanity, and not just humanity, for other species, to stand up for a golden age. And when those individuals come together in one army, that's when we're actually going to see a change happen. And unfortunately, that's not what's going on right now. With a lot of them. And what is happening right now? Okay. So, yeah, if you are interested in the army, then definitely reach out to me and let me know. I am on Facebook and other social media platforms, and that is mainly where the battle is taking place right now. Not an actual physical battle, but a battle for souls, right? We're trying to get information out there and awaken people. And through that awakening experience, when they realize what their soul actually came here to do, then they can join forces in the army and actually, make a difference in the world. So Faith says that she is a fresh vegan. Woohoo! Congratulations. That is awesome. As far as like a sweetener goes, I like to use agave, but some recipes also call for maple syrup, which, obviously is going to have that mapley taste. So it doesn't work in everything. But I'm a really big fan of agave, and you can even get raw agave. A lot of us are moving towards more of a raw lifestyle. All the other species on Mother Earth, they eat raw fruits and veg, and even, the ones that eat other animals, they're eating it raw. They're not going to go into a lion doesn't go to a supermarket and pick up a slab of corpse and go home and cook it. Like, that's not a true carnivore thing to do. Like, they eat their prey as it bleeds out. It's like, it's raw. So yeah. There's also a movement to eating raw flesh and drinking blood too. I think it's this invert called SV3 Ridge or something that promotes this really disgusting lifestyle, and they go to vegan events like eating slabs of meat and stuff. It's like extremely immature, and if I ever encountered that, I would have to, at the very least, exchange a few words with the creep. But it's unfortunate that they are influencing other truthers to, partial truth in the raw aspect of it, but eating animals, which is a complete corruption to your mind, body, and soul. And right along with that same corruption of eating animals and drinking blood is drinking your urine. I keep having to come back to this topic because people are still trying to promote it. It's like, haven't humans woken up and connected with their God-given sense of disgust when they even think about drinking urine? Like, ugh. Anyways, Aaron says red bell pepper for vegan cheese as well. Yes, I haven't tried anything with red bell pepper. If you have a recipe, I would love to try it. But I've seen some for like, what is it called? Squash and even sweet potatoes that they make cheeses out of. So it's really exciting to be alive at this time and getting to have the connections all over the world to experience recipes from different places and ultimately to connect with you. So thank you for being here, and hopefully that you are having a wonderful day. Zer says, no longer eat it now, though. What are we talking about, Zer? So, let's see. My trip to San Diego was really fun. I liked to go to the beach, obviously, and I really got to make personal connections with people that I hadn't made before. It's really important to actually have a soul connection with people, and I'm really thankful for those of you who aren't just here on the live chat, but are on other platforms and constantly interacting so that we can actually get to know each other. That is definitely something that I want, and to build friendships with people that are in my army, and friendships that are actually true, not just people that are faking being your friend and will walk away when the going gets tough. So Faith says, is Jesus the Son of God and Jesus is real? And do you believe that there are angels following and protecting us? Well, as far as being Jesus, the Son of God, that's what, if you open the Bible, that's what he claimed. But he also said that we are his brothers and sisters, right? So we are children of God too. And for my studies, he didn't put this separation between himself and other humans. Obviously, I am a follower of the Essene path more than the mainstream Christianity. So my beliefs are going to be different than theirs. But he didn't really put this separation between us. He said, you can do even greater things than I have done. And that's something that I aspire to do. So as far as Jesus being real, obviously there is historical, there's people on all sides of the debate. I personally think the Father, Mother Trinity, Father, Mother, Child has reincarnated in many different cultures over different time periods. I'm going to say it's a Wiccan, but I don't follow these, specific paths. But I think that the Wiccans, talk about Lord and Lady Christ and having, the two together doing the mission rather than just a single-sided male doing it. And you can see some of this in extra biblical texts talking about Mary Magdalene and the Christ and their relationship and how she was this disciple of his, and how she was more learned than the males in the group. And there's also texts that talk about, after the Christ was killed, how she was the one that went around and said, okay, guys, we got to get together and, continue on type mentality being a driving force. So contrast that, all of these extra biblical texts that are positive towards women, and then Paul the corrupter in the Bible saying, women shouldn't teach in church and we should be silent and all of that kind of nonsense. So, yeah. And do you believe that there are angels following and protecting us? I do believe that, in guardian angels, angels being these beings of light that are extensions of Yah. So our creator has a method to connect with all of us in this reality that we are in. And, over time you can get closer or further from that guardian angel based on your decisions, right? If you're going down a path and you say, screw you to God, and you want to be an inverted deceiver, then it's you're going to cause issues with that, right? It's an interesting thing. Angels and demons, how I used to see them and how I'm kind of, coming around to realizing the truth of our reality. A lot of times other species are labeled as demons, the whole species is, humans just put their stamp and say all of these are demons. And that's just not the case. All of the species that Yah made have free will. Obviously, some do use their free will to go to the dark side, and they enjoy torturing humans and, feasting on their negative energies and all of this stuff. But you can also kind of, if you take a step back and look at it, it's well, the humans are doing these sorts of evils to the animals and all this other stuff. So the demons kind of, in a way, act as karma to that. And that's not to say that demons are good. I'm just saying, like, in certain perspectives, you can see how the demon could be seen as good to the spiritual world for punishing the humans for the evil that they are doing. But like I've said before, if the majority of humanity went vegan right now today, they wouldn't have this justification to say we need to call off this species, because this species is a parasite, is a virus to the earth, is destroying the earth. Like, if we all shifted, then the karmic mechanisms wouldn't be in place for them to justify what they are doing to us. They're getting away with calling us, with very little or no karma because of these little mechanisms that they understand full well. They understand that by us farming, enslaving, and killing other species, we are consenting to that. They can be that karma for us and not be considered evil in the mechanisms of the karmic machine. And, when I say karma, ultimately what I just mean is the rules of the mother. This is the mother's world. We're just living in it. And mama's rules are what determines reality ultimately. Like, if she doesn't want to be this tree, then she doesn't have to be, even if our creator tries to make her that tree. Like, she gets to decide what she is. And this is what it is ultimately, this beautiful world that we live in. And I personally believe fully that she wants it to be a paradise. But she lets us go through this darkness, through these trials and tribulations, to gain wisdom, to have the experience, like, for a plethora of reasons. But, with ultimately wanting to have that better world. She doesn't want to be a hell. She doesn't want to be a clown show that humans and every species is just suffering and doesn't ever want to come back. Over time, sorry, I'm kind of ranting. I guess I'm not really going to apologize for ranting on my own show, but okay. Over time, because of the suffering, the world has kind of gotten more dark and dark over time. And the souls that come in here to play it straight, right? The souls that aren't on Team Satan, the souls that come in here to be good and fight back, over time, it's like they get crushed down, and then over time, they don't want to come in anymore. So it's kind of like a filtering system where the good souls start to stop coming in so much, and more bad souls that start to come in. So it's kind of what we are seeing now. And the mother is only going to want to get so dark before she ceases to exist. And that's why I am fighting so hard for the golden age. Like I've said before, if I have to work with people that I don't like, if I have to do things that I don't necessarily want to do to get to the golden age, that's what I'm going to do, because it's extremely important to get there. Not just, for my own personal desires of having a baby in a safe world, but because of the mother soul, because of all the other souls that are under the dome that are suffering, and it just needs to stop. So hopefully this message resonates with some of you, and you realize that you came here to fight back, and you're focused on that. And if that's you, well, I'm glad that you're here. Please reach out to me on other social media platforms if you're there. And I would love to have a personal relationship with you guys, because we are fighting alongside each other, and, we need to be able to trust each other and be able to move forward as a unified front. So Aaron says, I've always had your back, sister, and always will. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jesus is one of many. I agree. Aaron says, but Jesus might be the final boss, if that makes sense. Names are not all that important, or are not that important. It's the meaning behind it and what we do now. Aaron, do you mean the final boss as in like the final judge, or the one that's coming to the final boss against the evil ones that are in the world? Or what do you mean by that? It's interesting. Monk Hermit, I like your name, says hi. I am a hermit too, so cheers to that. Mike the Mechanic says, not ranting, it's the truth. Nice to catch you live. Thanks, Mike. I'm glad that you could catch me live as well. For those of you who don't know, on Sundays, I'm going to be going live at noon. And then on Wednesdays, I go live at 3:33 p.m. PST. So definitely come and join me. I love to have this conversation. Zer says, can you explain who the Anunnaki were? Well, if you want to have a very basic, taking the word Anunnaki means the people of Anu, and the I'm pretty sure that was the sky god in ancient Sumeria. I as much as Inanna is part of the ancient Sumerian writings, I haven't really felt pulled into that. I find myself more on the Essene path. There's a lot of nonsense that has been written about Inanna, and not just that, but the feminine divine in general, a demonization of the Queen of Heaven, and linking her with all of this inverted LGBTQ PBR satanic nonsense that has nothing to do with her. She is a purifier. She comes to purify, and Satanists have demonized her. So anyways, as far as that goes, I think I said maybe last week or so, I haven't really been digging too much into the beliefs of other cultures at this point right now, but mainly just focusing on purifying myself and trying to become the best versions of myself possible. Versions? Okay, that's a version, one version. Okay, the best version of myself possible, while trying to promote that to other people. You know, all of these belief systems can be really segregating, divisive, and it's not what I am trying to focus on right now. Because our enemy is united against us, and even the people that, you know, believe the same thing as me are fighting each other. So it's like, stop fighting each other, focus on yourselves, become the best version of yourself possible, and let's all focus on the golden age and not each other. Last thing that I need is a bunch of army members that are focused on how close in proximity they are to me in relation to one another, as opposed to focusing on the golden age. That's what I need. I need people that are actually focused on the golden age. So if that's you, thank you. Faith says, yes, I've heard that that's not his real name, and the picture of Jesus are actually Baphomet. He does the same symbolism. Okay. Yes, when I started to question everything in 2015, I started to question the name. The name Jesus is, there's some articles that associate it with Earth Pig and Pig of Ishtar, and like a really, I think it's a demonization of this character. Like, I think that the Christ was a purifier and did great things, not the dying on the cross stuff, but, you know, showing the world to how to purify themselves and being a truther, and them demonizing this character, right? Making them look like, in one of the pictures that was just posted in the Transvestigation Disclosure Now group, it's of the Christ hanging on the cross with like really, really girly hips. Like, it's very undeniable that they have made this image, not only, you know, the Caesar Borgia, or whatever the heck that guy's name is, but also not only taking it away from what his actual face looks like and what his actual race would have been in that area, but also making him into a girl. Like, it's very irritating. And as far as the same symbolism goes, the prana mudra is what the symbol is called. I don't feel like it's a bad thing, but I don't want to do it because someone's going to screenshot me doing it and say, oh, Illuminati confirmed because she does. No, look up the prana mudra, Prana. It is used in yoga. When I do fasting, I've used it myself. It helps with feeling energy. It also helps with hunger pangs. And all of these mudras, these hand gestures, even the symbols, the one-eye symbolism and stuff, all of these evil, you know, Satanists have grabbed hold of them and used them against us, used them, you know, inverted their meanings and promoted that they are evil, when in reality, ancient cultures, our ancient ancestors didn't see them as evil. They used them in their life for healing, for spiritual enlightenment, for anything, right? When I am experiencing pain in my body of any sort, it's like, okay, what mudra can I do to help? Like, the 666 mudra can help with headaches when you're fasting. And, you know, the ancient cultures didn't see this as a bad thing. So I'm really, you know, passionate about finding what these things actually meant and reclaiming them, reusing them for what they originally stood for. It's not, I don't believe that it's right that Satanists come along and say, oh, well, I'm going to grab your symbol and I'm going to use it for evil, and now you guys can't use it because we've used it. It's like, no, you stop using my symbol and you get your own, you loser. Like, these Satanists don't come up with their own stuff. They just infiltrate and corrupt from within. Like, getting real passionate about this. But yes. All right. Aaron says, the last prophet was Jesus. Perhaps the Lord of Spirits will incarnate again, but time will tell. Interesting. I am definitely open to new prophets coming. I consider myself a prophetess. It's just someone that spreads the message of the creator, right? Of God. And for anyone who doesn't know, obviously the biblical prophecies say that King David is actually the king that will return in the future. I wish I had him written down. I can post him later, but there's 3 specific verses that talk about King David being the returning king. And, well, that is going to be my future son. So Aaron says there's not much that Satan hasn't demonized in one way or another. Absolutely. Yep. That is, everywhere we look, it's like demonization of so much that our ancient ancestors didn't see that way. It's so frustrating. And then so many truthers that won't ever question the mainstream truth narrative, right? The mainstream truth narrative that you get in, that everybody, swims in, is, Baphomet Baphomet has been used to symbolize evil, but Baphomet in itself is an occult symbol for Sophia, who is all physical matter. So the original meaning of this thing was not evil, but all of these truthers are just jumping on the bandwagon, jumping on that all of these mudras and different signs and symbols and colors and everything are all evil. And that's really quite irritating to me. Another thing that goes right along with this is the Lucifer thing, and how the ancients called Venus Lucifer in the morning because she rose before the sun bearing the light. In heaven, the Venus maiden, Virgo, bears the sun, and on earth, the mother, the maiden, the Virgo, bears the sun, the king, right? So it's kind of like in heaven on earth. But so much has been demonized of this, and we've been disconnected from where we are, what we are, and why we are here. So why should we expect that we haven't been lied to about the most fundamental things like signs and symbols? And what just popped into my head was viruses, because that's another thing that they have really deceived people about. Viruses are all made in labs by genetic engineers. If they weren't making them in labs, there wouldn't be viruses. Like, nature isn't just constructing these things to kill us. Like, that's just not how it's happening. But they've convinced us, well, not me, but they've convinced a lot of people that their own bodies, that your own body is making something that cannot even be made by nature. It has to be made in a genetics lab. It's like they are laughing at humans and the ignorance, and especially the arrogant ignorance. I've had people come and try to say that I'm wrong. It's like, when have you ever even spoken to a genetic engineer who has made a virus? Because you guys are all focused on virologists and what they do at the end of the process. And I'm focused on the people that actually make the thing. I don't really like people coming at me sideways and telling me that I'm wrong when I know I'm right. Tsunami Media says, hey, QI, Queen and Anna, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Sarah said, have you ever lucid dreamed before? And if you had, what was your experience? I actually don't recall any time that I have lucid dreamed. So I'll think about that and get back to you. How about you? I've heard a lot of other people say that they have before. And if you have had an experience like that, I definitely would love to hear that. Alrighty then. Blue Hummingbird. Hey, new subscriber. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Zare says, speaking facts. Yes. Blue says we be doing an FTM video soon. Yeah, I've been working on that, and it's just one thing after another, but eventually I will get to it. I promise. I plan on doing a lot better this year. My birthday was, September 17th last month. And it's kind of one of my goals to step up my game and, become better in every aspect of life, I guess. In the meantime, though, as far as FTMs go, my go-to biomarkers are always their tits. They have to get breast reduction surgery, and you'll see like scarring under their breast, and sometimes their nipples like creeping over into their armpit and stuff. It's like real bad. You'll have ones that are like pointing downward and this one's pointing up. It's like they should get refunds for that, but I don't I don't know that they can. Okay, Mike the Mechanic says, yes, Freemasons. They basically wrongfully take shit and try to make it their own. I would agree to a certain extent, but Freemasonry has also been infiltrated and corrupted. If you look into James Churchward's book, The Lost Continent of Mu, Motherland of Man, he talks about how these first humans worshipped the grand architect of our reality. You know, they had these symbols for the all-seeing eye of God who is watching us. You know, that I think that should be taught. God is watching you. How many people wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they actually knew that they were being watched, not just by God, but by a lot of watchers, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. Okay. Aaron says 100% in regards to Mike's comment. Yes, they wrongfully take stuff and make it their own. Viruses are man-made since probably before the Black Plague. Absolutely. Mike, that is true. They are man-made. Well, they've always been man-made. But if you look into ancient writings, even in ancient Sumerian writings, they talk about genetic engineering. Like, the ancient cultures were extremely advanced. They had advanced technology. They had free energy technology. They weren't deceived about being on a giant spinning ball. They weren't deceived about being evolved as space scum. I don't know, like what do people actually think they are? But they weren't deceived about so many things, but then we're taught, you know, to see our ancestors as these cavemen that were so stupid that they're banging each other on the head with clubs or something, and they can't talk. Like, just yet another inversion, right? Marilyn Manson looks terrible. I have seen a picture that's going around that's actually photoshopped of Marilyn Manson. Someone had posted it into the disclosure group, and then someone commented underneath and posted the fake versus real. So I would definitely encourage you. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about, but I kind of assume that it is. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Marilyn Manson is standing in front of like a red carpet thing. So there's words on the back. You can look up the words that they're standing in front of and see a completely different person. So not a lot of psyops are going on even with the Vin Diesel thing and putting out pictures of Vin Diesel being pregnant, like trying to really confuse us and ultimately make us look stupid, right? Like, if they can make truthers be the most deceived out of everyone, truthers thinking viruses aren't real, thinking concave earth, like not on a globe on the outside, but on the inside, and everything's stuck to the inside of a ball spinning, like drinking your pee. What else do they convince truthers of? It's like, if they can get us to be the stupidest ones of all, and then what normal human who believes the regular Matrix stuff is going to want to listen to us? They're like, those are a bunch of piss drinking clowns. Like, I'd rather stay deceived is what they're going to think, right? Like, if you start waking up, then you're going to drink your pee, and I'm good on that. Like, whew. All right. Aaron says, not that it looked good before, but now like an old lady. Yes. None of them really age well, especially, you know, I don't think there's any like actual paper studies on these. And then even then, what are scientific studies nowadays? Like, how much can we actually believe? But, you know, if you start a child on the reverse hormones, it's like, how long do the hormones wear off after a while? You got to keep upping the dose. Like, how does that affect the body over time? And obviously now, since we're having this promotion in the mainstream of let your kids be whatever gender they want, that's probably when we're going to start seeing more, you know, tests coming out when it's in the mainstream, you know, right? Like studies shown on these individuals that are taking puberty blocking hormones or doing this stuff. And as we've already seen from some studies, the inverted have the highest suicide rate. And some people try to say that's because we don't accept them and all of this stuff. It's like, no, it's because you at a soul level know that you are a clown and you do not want to be a clown anymore. That is why. I'm not going to accept these people that are lying. Like, you can think that you are a unicorn that can fly, but I'm not going to call you a unicorn that can fly. I'm going to say, that person's a little wacky. I'm probably just going to go be friends with somebody else. Like, just Anyways, I do pity these people that are confused. I think that we should get help for them to try to help them understand the demonic influence that's going on in their lives, that's, you know, not only in the mainstream, but also in your own personal life. Like, we all have demons, you know, demon on this shoulder and angel on this shoulder type connection, right? You have connections to both sides, and it can influence you in either way. You can either be influenced by the light to become a better version of yourself, or you can be influenced by the dark. And knowing that you are being influenced by these, you know, demons, essentially, I was changing. Knowing that you're being influenced by demons helps you to be able to stand up against that. It's not an excuse for you to be like, oh, the demons messed with me, so I did all of this. It's like, no, demons are messing with me, so I need to be aware, and I need to take control of myself. I need to realize that they're trying to make me feel a certain way, that they're flooding my mind with thoughts of whatever the situation may be, maybe negativity. They keep bringing up something that's bothering me. Like, you need to realize that you're having external sources messing with you so that you can take control. It's really as simple as that. And people don't realize that they are being messed with by demons, so they let the demons fester and make all of these problems and manifest them in our reality. And it doesn't need to be that way. But since we're told that the spiritual world doesn't exist, and, you know, we're evolved space scum on a giant spinning ball, and, you know, they've been to space, and where's heaven? Heaven doesn't exist because we've been up there, right? Like, where's God? Anyways, thankfully, though, the truth is coming out. So Blue Hummingbird says Virgos are the knowledge seekers. Absolutely. Yep. Mike the Mechanic says, yes, I believe Freemasons were originally good but corrupted by Satanists. Awesome. Aaron says, okay. Oh, okay. LOL. Okay, thanks. In regards to the Marilyn Manson thing. Yeah, I had to look it up too. It's like, this person looks really bad. Some of them do, though. I think it was like Celine Dion that's looking like a walking skeleton nowadays. So Zer says, I just love music. I'll listen to these invert song at 4:32, but not them. I also love music. I have musical notes tattooed here behind my ear. Hopefully you can see them. I started singing before I was even like fully talking. I'm singing. I started playing piano from a young age, and I play the guitar as well. I do love music, especially love songs. It's really unfortunate that the inverts put so much corruption in them with backmasking and, you know, the frequencies that are harmful for us. They're always trying to program us through that. I definitely look forward to the golden age where we can have real males and females on stage making their own music that's pure and, you know, not designed to corrupt humans. Aaron says, I think they use surrogates due to health problems, maybe from hormone abuse. Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out. But also at the same time, you have some that do carry their own children. So it might also be like a personal, like maybe they don't have the time to get pregnant. They can't get off their filming or something. I don't know, like different factors, but yeah. Jesse says, but you don't believe in Jesus Christ, so most of what you stand for is mute. Jesse, I follow the teachings of the Essene Christ. So if you're going to say that what I stand for is moot just because I don't follow your man-made religion that doesn't even... The Bible contradicts itself. So don't even come in here and try to say that what I say is mute because I don't follow your religion. You need to question the things that you have been brainwashed in your whole life. I follow the teachings of the Essene Christ, who was a purifier, not Paul the Corrupter, not anyone who fed people fish, not anyone who even talks about this whole idea, satanic idea, that innocent bloodshed will forgive you of your sins. That is Satanism 101, to be covered in innocent blood. And I'm not okay with that. If you stand for that, then what you stand for is mute, because you stand for innocent bloodshed. God hates hands that shed innocent blood. So what does that say about your hands, Jesse? Aaron says, grounding works well to keep away the nasty demons. Absolutely, Aaron, I agree. I can definitely deal with some grounding myself because I'm getting fired up here. All right. Hey, Akshar, how's it going? Blue Hummingbird says that they agree. Sarah said, what happened to the kids that weren't lab created in the industry, but they grew up around Masons? How will they be judged? Well, that is a good question because, as a child, they're taught lies. They're, forced to be inverted. But there's also the fact that that soul chose to come into that family that would do that to them, that would invert them, that would, induct them into satanic societies that will, get them ahead in Satan's world, whether it's fame or fortune or power or any of that stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Thankfully, our creator sees it and judges it, from a wider perspective than we do. Yeah. Hey, Billy Mack, how's it going? Seeing Christ is Yeshua. Yep. Back to the name thing. Who was it mentioning earlier? Faith was mentioning about the name of, Jesus. I've said this before. There's a whole name game, Hebrew roots movement. When I went into the Torah, I was like fighting with people like, his name is Yeshua, his name is Yahuwah, like the son comes in the name of the Father, like really, like this is extremely important. But then it's like, once I realized that, it's like, these people don't even get his message. Why are we fighting about the guy's name when they can't even get his character correct? I personally think that his message, his purification message is way more important than arguing about his name. So I don't get on that train anymore. I just try to call him the Christ and stay away from all of that divide and conquer. Jesse, wow, that got you excited. Yes, I get fired up really easily and I'm really passionate. I am, as far as it goes, I'm the only one that I know that is promoting this message of purification to become the best versions of yourself possible and leading by example. I lead a dry fasting community. We dry fast every week together. Like, we are actually purifying ourselves. So Atrocigo, I don't know if that's how you say your name, but hello to the Queen from Switzerland. Hello. Billy says, our creator detests blood sacrifice. Yes. Blue Hummingbird says, speaking facts. Absolutely. Aaron says, Essenes is the original Jesus, had his own sect teachings, aka Yeshua, Savior, or he who saves. The Roman version came later, Jesse. The Roman church is hiding and keeping info from you about Jesus. Yes. You should talk to Aaron if you want some more calmness, but I get really fired up. I really appreciate how Aaron is really knowledgeable in this and has a very even temper about him and can explain to people like very simply. I'm really passionate about these things. I know that he is too, but he's more calm in delivering it than I am. I'm like, let's fight. All right. Billy says, it's a way to divide. Born in 9/11. Yes, divide and conquer by arguing about his name when nobody can even get his message straight. It's like, wow, can you really, if you are trying to say that you're a follower of this guy, do you really think that he's proud that you died on that hill of what his name was rather than what his actual message was? Like, I don't feel like he would be too appreciative of that. Like, that's not the way to go. As far as born on 9/11, that is something that I came across in my writings as well. It makes a lot more sense to me that he would have been born in September as a Virgo. Virgo souls seek to purify, and I'm obviously a Virgo, and I want my future child to be a Virgo. And if you look into the ancient cultures during Christmas time, they actually had fertility festivals. Like, people were encouraged to go and get pregnant because, well, 9 months later, then we get Virgo babies. Yay. Really exciting. Obviously, I'm not encouraging debauchery and going and, sleeping around with, like, I am talking about sex in a committed relationship with two people that actually are ready and wanting to be parents. Like, at that time, then let's all go for it and make some babies. All right. Billy says 4-star conjunction, 9/11, 3 BC, total eclipse of the sun, Jupiter, and Regulus. Okay, Billy, I'm not really sure what you're talking about there. Hey, Renee, how's it going? Renee says, how are you? And what is going on now? We are just chatting. I'm responding to things in the live chat, and I'm having a great day. The birds are chirping, and it's a really great, the weather's great. I'm enjoying a cup of hot tea, so I'm pretty happy. Hopefully you're doing it well. Atrozigo said, you pronounced it well. How's life going over there? Very great. If you missed the beginning of my chat or my video, I was talking about how I recently got to go to San Diego to meet up with some family friends, and got to play with babies. So that really is something that I love to do for my whole life. I'm like, I would pretty much rather be around children because they're innocent and they're just so precious and pure. Like, the older that people not seem to get, the older that people get, is like the more corrupt they are. And adults, obviously it depends on the adults, but the mainstream, so many of them, are perverted and just deceived and just so far from innocence. I don't know. It bothers me. Anyways, there says, what do you eat that lasts a little while in your refrigerator, like microwavable food? That's a good question, because honestly, I don't really eat anything that has a long refrigerator lifetime. I make a potato and carrot cheese, nacho jalapeno cheese. It's really good, and it can be refrigerated for up to 7 days. But I do a lot, like the vegan burgers that I make, I freeze them. So obviously they last a lot of time. I'll have to come back to you if I think of anything, but mainly I try to eat like fresh fruits and veggies, or the complete opposite, where I'm eating processed junk. So it's kind of like there's not necessarily like an in between where I have a refrigerator full of food. Like I'm fasting a lot too, so I don't my refrigerator isn't stocked to the brim. So yeah, I have a bad habit kind of just going out and buying whatever I want at that meal and then coming home and making it. Obviously, people save a lot more money when they don't buy that way, but it's just not where I'm at right now. Okay. Aaron says, keep an eye out in the Transpocalypse group. I will try and post vegan recipes for anyone interested. Woohoo! As I come across them and try a few. If you want to do the hashtag vegan recipes, that would be awesome too. Then anyone who is looking for that, they could easily find. Billy says, it was testified to Dolores Cannon by Sudi during a QHHT session, which is past life regression for self-healing. That's interesting, Billy. I know that Dolores Cannon does a lot of stuff about the Essenes, but they also have globe Earth mixed in with it. So I don't follow anyone anyways. There's no one that I'm dedicated to going to their channel time and time again to watch their videos. Same with books. I don't follow Dolores Cannon. I can't follow anyone that talks about globe Earth, because obviously they're not fully awake. They might have really great information. You can pick out the truth and the lies, but I can't promote somebody that is a globetard. All right. Jesse says the air in Fresno is horrific from the fires. Yes, it is pretty bad down there. Renee says, I have a question for you. Do you fast? Yes, the answer is positive. How do you do it? Well, Renee, there are different types of fasts. You can do a juice fast where you only consume juices. You could do a water fast where you only consume water or 0 calorie. There's some on Amazon. You can find 0 calorie fasting supplements that you add to your water that have electrolytes and vitamins. Or you can do a dry fast. And that is what I have been getting into more recently. If you're on Facebook, the dry fasting community is where we are gathering. But on Mondays at 8 a.m. PST, Mount Shasta time, we are doing a 24-hour dry fast as a group for group support and all that stuff. And obviously that is something to build up to. It's not going to be easy for people to jump right in, but it is a start. And dry fasting is 3 times as effective as wet fasting. So it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. Just do 3 days of a dry fast instead of 9 or so days as a wet fast or whatever. But it's really beneficial for healing the mind, body, and soul to just not put anything in. And it's very empowering from my experience. And it gets easier over time. So, yes. There's some people that will start with intermittent fasting where you just do, you only eat for a certain chunk of time during the day. So if you want to build yourself up to that, I would definitely encourage those routes. Any baby step that you take in the right direction is something that you should, be proud of and pat yourself on the back for, not hurting yourself over, stumbling and failing. So Billy says 9/11, 3 BC, birthday, Star of Bethlehem was a 4-star conjunction, moon in Leo / sun in Virgo, Jupiter Regulus in Leo. Interesting. All right. Mike says, as a vegan, I will store things quite a long time because I make my refrigerator extra cold, where some things actually get frozen. Okay. Saves me from making a bunch of trips to the store. Interesting. I found that a post that was saying that you can put strawberries in a mason jar that's really tight and they'll last for a lot longer. So there's definitely things that you can do to get fruit and veg to last longer in the refrigerator as well. Billy says Dolores Cannon equals incredible author. Source living word testimony. Well, thanks for your opinion, Billy, but I stand by my statement that I don't trust any globetards, and I am not going to be saying that any globetard is receiving divine specific messages from the creator or anything, because the creator isn't going to deceive the person. Anyways. Jesse says, I have a ton of dry beans, lentils that I collect that other people throw out and may come to those foods to survive what is coming. Yes, for anyone who hasn't started prepping, they've been doing various things to literally create a famine, buying farms. The dairy industry has been going out of business for a long time, which is something I'm happy about. But these shortages are coming and people need to be prepared. The chemtrails, the droughts, the floods, all of these different weather modifications are purposefully being done to make the growing season shorter, to cause disruptions in the food supply chain. Pestilence, famine, war, death. Prepare, okay, for the 4 horsemen. Not just having stockpiles of food in your cupboards, because there's already laws on the books that when times of trouble comes, the government can literally come in and take your food. I don't know. I mean, it depends on where you're watching, but I'm in the United States, and they have laws on the books, executive orders say they can come in and commandeer your food, your supplies, your guns, your farm. They can come in and take it. So we need to be prepared. I have food buried in my yard. If they can't find it, a lot of them is they're really flipping lazy. They're not going to go and dig up your backyard to try to find it. They're going to come in, they're going to take what they can find, and then they're going to, hopefully leave you alive. If you try to fight over it, then that might be a different story. It would be really, for them really easy if everybody just makes their own personal stands in their houses and dies over their stockpiles instead of us surviving and then actually coming together as an army. And that will be in Mount Shasta, where the golden age always starts. Getting to the root of the problem, the root chakra, is what is going to fix this. You have to get to the root, fix the root, and then it'll fix the whole tree that is Mother Earth. Blue Hummingbird says, what time is it over there? Right now it is 12:53. How about you? I know that I have people from all over the world that are watching at all sorts of hours. So thank you, especially if you're here at really early hours in the morning, late hours, and all these inconvenient times. I really appreciate it. And I'm really loving to have these live chats where we actually get to talk about things, and I can answer your questions live. So Zare says, and I love noodles. Well, I love noodles too. I'm a really big fan of spaghetti. I eat a lot of spaghetti, grilling up some, or I guess sauteing some onions, and then adding that to some pasta sauce on some noodles with some vegan homemade Parmesan cheese and some garlic bread. Ooh, cheesy garlic bread. Now we're talking. Now I'm getting hungry. Okay. Mike the Mechanic says, yes, the earth is flat. I trigger people when I say I know the earth is flat versus I believe the earth is flat. Yes, they do get triggered very easily, right? It's got to be cognitive dissonance from, being taught as a child. You have to come to the realization and actually accept that you were lied to and that you were tricked. And for some people, they obviously can't do that, as all of you guys know. I am guessing the majority of people here are probably flat earthers, or vegans. I don't know. I don't know what brought you to me, but I'm glad that you're here. Blue Hummingbird says, if you ate cereal, what do you use for milk as vegan? Almond milk, coconut milk. As far as like a coffee goes, I've really been enjoying oat milk recently. So yeah, rice milk is decent, but it's kind of more on the papery thin side. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how many different products can actually be made into milks and how we don't need to go and steal from baby cows. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, I just posted, what was it, maybe 2 days ago, I was at a CAFO on my way from San Diego to Mount Shasta. I was driving on the I-5 and I saw a CAFO, and so I went on a little detour. It was right off the side of the road. Like, you can literally see it as you're driving by, rows and rows of baby cows just separated from their moms. It's like, if I could, and not have any, I guess I'm not really I'm not worried about having repercussions necessarily, but it's like, what would I even do with the cows if I did go in? Like, I want to set them free, but unless I actually can go in and say, like, maybe buy the property and then turn it into a sanctuary, like, you had to actually do something productive. Otherwise, it's just like, these cows are just going to stand around and not know what to do. Like, okay. Anyways, Sonia, how's it going? How are you? It is a beautiful day here, and I'm glad that you could join. Renee says, I used to fast one time a month, 24 hours without eat or drink anything. Ooh, that's really good. But that was when I was a Mormon, but not quite sure anymore. That's why I'm inquiring. That is really awesome that you've already been fasting. I didn't know, is that part of Mormon, like, does every Mormon do that, or is that like only more dedicators? I've never heard of them doing dry fast, so I'd be really interested in seeing how it's in different religious groups, and some that fast for a month, during intermittent fast for a month. Even in the Bible, it talks about the Christ fasting, and it's just really cool to see how all these cultures have this truth, this healing magic, if you will, written in their text, but the medical industry, well, they don't make money off of it, so that's why. Blue Hummingbird says it's 12:59 over here in Alabama. Ooh, Alabama. I have not been there. I am originally from Ohio. I've been as far as, I have family in South Carolina, so I've been down there. I've been to Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, all of those places over there. So not to Alabama, though. That's pretty cool. Aaron says, it's so sad. I still have to watch that video. Poor animals. Yeah. It's really crazy that they have them on the side of the road, too. I've actually experienced multiple of them driving up the I-5, and it's like, you get this really bad stench like a mile before, and you're like, what in the world is that horrible smell? And then you come across all these cows in one area right off the highway. It's like, you kind of would think that they would hide that, but it's like, wow, you guys really have, and people are driving past this every day and they still aren't vegan. It's like, I don't get it, but yeah, I do understand how addictive these foods are. And I also understand it's not just a physical issue, like that there are chemicals that, in cheese that make it more addictive, but it's also a spiritual addiction as well. There are demonic entities that are, parasites, attachment to these things. And when you consume them, you're feeding that demon through yourself, right? And you're creating this bond with that demon through the evil that you guys are partaking in together. And when you want to try to purify, you're going to have to, deal with that relationship that you have created with that demon. It's like, he's not going to go easily. He's going to be whispering that you're going to die if you don't have meat, or, just the most ridiculous, I don't want to say retarded, the most ridiculous things that you could have whispered into your ear. You're going to die if you don't have protein from meat. It's like, plants are literally the source of protein. Protein comes from plants. So all of these there's so many myths about veganism that, well, thankfully, a lot of us have questioned them and found out that they are myths. And here I am. I went vegan in 2017, I think. I really wish that I would have written down the date, and then actually I'd have a vegan anniversary every year to celebrate. So I'm pretty disappointed about that. But I've been vegan for multiple years and I haven't died from protein deficiency. I'm feeling better than I have ever felt before. And it's not just the vegan aspect, it's also implementing fasting as well. And overall purification. It's like your soul is purifying as your body is purifying, and it's going to make you the best version of yourself possible. So, woohoo. Bombaclat Gattofish says, I have been doing great lately from vegetarian to vegan diet. Woohoo! That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Vegetarians will, for those of you who guys maybe not know the difference, vegetarians often will consume honey or milk or eggs. And obviously, as I was saying before, those things contain growth factors, and not just growth factors, but it's like cholesterol in eggs. And these things are acidic and mucus forming. They're not made for you to eat. So over time, they're going to cause issues. And that's, a vegetarian isn't going to be as healthy as a vegan who's eating properly. Obviously, we all know you can have healthy vegans and unhealthy vegans. So that's not the determining factor of health. But if you want to be the most healthy version of yourself, you're going to go into the raw foods. You're going to go into fasting. Some people do like a mono fruit fast where you just consume a certain one type of fruit for an extended period of time, which can be really cleansing. Grapes would be a great suggestion for that. Watermelon. But let me see what's going on here. Aaron says, Islam explains this well about Iblis, Satan, how he used to go in and out of the body of Adam, meaning possessing the body. We have both malevolent and benevolent spirits inside of us. Yep. I have studied some of the Islamic stuff. Obviously, I talk about the jinn, which are usually in Islamic culture, these beings of smokeless fire that were created by Yah. They have free will. But I know there's a lot of overlapping stuff with Islam and, Christianity. And I think in the Islamic text, they talk about the Christ and maybe like either healing a bird or making a clay bird fly or something. I'll have to look into it, but it's a really interesting story that I've heard before. So Jesse says, I have Marcus from hell. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay. Bombaclat Gattofish says, I've been a relatively unhealthy vegetarian, but now I'm eating more raw, mostly vegan fasting as well. Woohoo! That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. Aaron says, before his conscious awakening, Adam, to clarify. Sorry, Aaron, but that made me a little bit confused. Blue Hummingbird says, I love honey and tea. Ugh. Well, I would definitely suggest to try agave if you want some sweetener. It was actually only a very short time. Growing up, I never liked honey, but then I got married and my ex-husband liked to drink hot tea with honey and lemon. So I did it for a little bit, but now I never liked honey to begin with. So it's not really ever a problem for me to give it up. But I do know that bees work really, really hard. I think they say like a bee might only make a teaspoon of honey in its whole life. It's like working its whole life for 1 teaspoon of honey, and humans just throw that away. It's like, it's so meaningless to humans, but to the other species is actually making it. It's so meaningful. It's their whole life. Really sad. Anyways. Aaron says the story of Iblis went in and out of the body before the body of Adam was given the sacred breath of life. Okay. Interesting. I haven't heard of that before, but I do know that there was, the whole situation with Iblis being in heaven and Yah creating this clay statue essentially of his new creation, right? Like you kind of, if you see the bigger picture, it's like over time the creator has created different species, and when the next new species comes in line, like, God's going to be really proud of it and want to reveal it and show it off. Like, yeah, look at this cool thing that I just made. Especially, I love the human body. Like, we got little, like, a highways of blood going to and from our vein, or from our hearts and all over our bodies. Like, it's so complex and awesome. I just love it. So I can see, or, not see, but, him being so proud of this creation and unveiling it. And then, then the whole story goes that Iblis wouldn't bow down to it. As a jinn, he's like, okay, well, I don't look like that. First of all, I'm not made of solid form. I can shapeshift. I can live a really, really, really long time. I'm extremely smart. And why in the world would I bow to an inferior creation? So that's kind of the whole story, how it goes in Islamic culture. And I personally do believe that that's, along the lines of the actual truth of the situation. And then it's not just that the jinn were before us, but we've had Nakash, the snakes, reptilians, which is a big, group that also includes dragons. And over time, you can kind of see how, when the reptilians were first made, they would have been center stage, right? They would have had the creator's focus. And then over time, the next creation comes along, and then those ones kind of get pushed to the side, and they still have feelings, right? They're going to have feelings of resentment towards whatever the creator is focusing on now. Like, it reminds me of in Toy Story, I think it was like Toy Story 3, where the toys that don't get played with get put up on the shelf. I think it's that little wheezy penguin. Anyways. Blue Hummingbird heard that Leonardo DiCaprio was a woman. Yes. Pretty much a good rule of thumb is if they're in the limelight, if they're promoted, if they're on the big screen, and we're supposed to lust after them, whether they're a male or whether they're pretending to be a male or a female, they're inverted, right? So they want all of us girls sitting at home looking at, Leonardo DiCaprio and Vin Diesel and, these hunks, and lust after them, and try to form our fantasies or what our idealized version of men are, while looking at these females that don't have penises, and they're really sensitive, and then they have like an emotional scene in a movie where they're even tearing up, and it's like their MTF counterpart is just like stone cold. No, they gotta like bring in onion spray to get just one tear. Terrible acting. But anyways, ultimately Satan wants both sides, males and females, lusting after the same sex dressed as the opposite sex. So it works to confuse us, it works to homosexualize us, and corrupt us ultimately, right? If especially guys, the masturbation culture being promoted, pornography, it's like when you are masturbating, when you're lusting and, actually having an orgasm to somebody that you see on a screen, like you're forming a connection with them, but the person that you're forming a connection with is a demon, is an actual demon. Okay. So it's really important that people realize that these inverts are all over, and that it's not just harmless to sit here and, see some invert on the TV and lust after them. It's not harmless. It's corrupting us, and ultimately it needs to stop. So, okay. Jesse says guava paste and cheese is fabulous. Well, as long as it is vegan. If you are sitting here promoting eating cheese that's not vegan, after you want to say that because I don't believe in your religion that what I preach is moot, then I will come through this screen and knock you out. Just kidding. I can't do that, but still. All right. Renee says, let me tell you why the Mormon fast. Although it is an excellent way to learn auto-control and self-discipline, they teach their members to fast for 24 hours the first Sunday of each month. And the value of that 2 meals that the members refuse to take during the fast, they have to donate to the church as a tithing. Wow. Okay, that is interesting, Renee. Wow. I shouldn't be surprised because I, expect this kinds of stuff from... I actually just heard that there was a place in Mount Shasta that was, had a temple that said donations only, and someone was standing outside forcing people to donate. Like, yeah, that's crazy. It's really sad how much, most churches in the 503C, whatever the heck those little numbers and alphabets are, being tied to the state, and basically the pastors can't have free speech because they're tied to the state. And yeah, for that tax-free status, right? Aaron says, Iblis/Satan was the first to produce pride. That's kind of interesting because you would think, though, I would think that the creator would be proud of his creation, right? So, I don't know. That's an interesting thought, though. The bow was meant as a sign of respect, but he didn't take it that way and felt betrayed, right? There are various versions, all interesting, various faiths, right? It is also interesting how the corrupter, the deceiver, the enemy of mankind is throughout different religions as well. So much overlapping, and then they want us all to fight over the differences rather than join over the things that are true, that we all know to be true. We can leave all the other stuff behind and just unify in truth. Like, come on, guys. Aaron says, LOL, remember Obama on TV pretending to cry? I caught it right when I seen it. Actually, I don't. I was totally tuned out when the Obamas came in. I came from a very conservative, patriotic background, and I was, at this time, not realizing that presidents were selected and not elected. I really thought that Obama was like the Antichrist, and then Trump came along, and Trump literally deceived so many people. In comparison to the people that Obama deceived, I think that they could literally implement their New World Order under Trump and have the majority of the people praising for it. They've already cheered for martial law under Trump when they were having all the fake riots. The leftists were doing all the fake riots, the controlled riots, I should say. They're not necessarily fake, but it's like the powers that be will have people in charge of them, and will say, hey, go and throw bricks at this building for this much money, and then try to get other humans to do it as well. So they fabricate these riots and all these, all this chaos, and then they have patriots cheering for martial law. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so see-through. All right. Akshar said onion spray. Yeah, like I don't have any actual proof that it's onion spray, but it's like onions make you cry, and they are not natural tears. Like, that's just... Jesse, I'm going to ignore that comment. All right. Aaron says, maybe Big Mike gave him a toe stomp when the camera wasn't watching, like at the UFC. That's funny. I haven't seen the video, but if you have it, that'd be funny to see. Jesse says, I believe Obama is the Antichrist, and Pelosi and the Democrat demon rats are very aware of this, as he's revealed himself as such to them in about 2020. Yeah, like I was saying, I thought Obama was the Antichrist, and then I see Trump, and Trump literally has everybody to see. People in other countries, oh, we want this clown fraud president. Like, wake up. All presidents have been female. All first laddies have been male. There is none of them that have been on our side. Even, the quasi-hero like JFK, the fake assassination. And I'm pretty sure they had their hands in the space race or, moonlight. Like, all of these presidents that were supposed to be seen as heroes. Reagan signed the Vaccine Injury Act protecting vaccine companies. People want to say that Reagan was the best president. Like, none of them are good. Even Trump, any truther is like, the fact that Trump supported the Space Force, is that not a red flag to you? You, like, some people say, oh, Trump knows the truth and blah, blah, blah. It's like, then why are they doing that? I do know that Trump knows the truth, because Trump is an inverted Satanist that's connected to Satan. And ultimately, Trump is doing what Trump is doing to deceive you. They were bought out of debt by Rothschild. They were funded by Soros. They were foreshadowed as president on The Simpsons and the Lego movie. They've literally publicly hit on their own child, said sexual things about their own child, Ivan, who is a little boy that has been dressed and forced to live life as a girl. How can anybody support that? That is child abuse. And not only just inverting your child, but then to go on national television and someone says, what do you have in common with your kid? And you're going to say, well, I was going to say sex, but why? No real father would ever even think about saying the word sex in relation to their daughter. Not even close. Like, no, only a completely broken, inverted clown would say that. So anyways. Aaron says, that's why I love philosophy. We try to connect the dots, comparable religion, but get to the origins and roots without all the corruption and corrupted sects over the ages. Indifferent, unbiased, and tolerant. Yep. That's awesome. I agree as well. Blue Hummingbird says Obama is a woman too, aka Bob Marley. I am not convinced that they are the same, but they are both females. And yeah. Aaron says, someone I know says that Trump is the Antichrist. Jesse, yes, like me. Aaron says, did you see the ancient pharaoh in the Egyptian pyramid when Obama visited and stopped? And he had a weird look on his face like he knew. Yeah, wasn't that like Akhenaten or something like that? I don't remember, but yeah. Bomba Ghetto Fish says, thank you. Politics is such trash, all part of the show. Yes, absolutely. You have the Republican and Democrats are two sides of the same coin. Like Satan has Trump puppet on one hand and Obama puppet on the other, and they're squabbling back and forth. And humans are like, this is the best entertainment ever. It's like, wow, you guys are really dumb, aren't you? Yeah, sorry, but and then the whole Trump is our savior. This whole just, it really makes it seem so much more of a likely candidate for the Antichrist, seeing how they have this huge cult following behind them. And a cult, C-U-L-T, the word cult, a group of people that believes the same thing. Obviously, that can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, right? Some people would see the Christ walking along with his 12 disciples as not only a coven of witches, but as a cult, right? And we know that the real Christ was a purifier, and the people that he walked with were purifiers, right? So that would have been a purifying cult, as opposed to the ones that are obsessed with blood sacrifice nowadays, the ones that just live in sin and want to say, oh, Jesus's blood has covered me, so I'm fine. I can keep eating animal corpses and watching pornography and just being a really bad person because Jesus's blood is just covered all over me. It's like, oh, that is so satanic to be covered in innocent blood. It's just sad. All right. Aaron says, political cults all playing for the same team, the ones who rule them to rule us. Absolutely. The right and left working together and them pretending to be against Trump and try to do this whole, oh, we're against Trump, so that the stupid humans who don't realize that they're both controlled by the same puppet master will go gravitate to, I hate that word, will pull towards Trump because they think Trump is uncontrolled. Just because they have the other side of the coin, pretend to attack Trump when they're all in bed together, like all of these inverted clowns, satanic muppets. Aaron says the Hegelian dialectic has been used by the elites for a long time to continue to divide us. Yes, it's like with every single subject that they can, right? Like they control every side of every argument. Well, not every, but like they try to control every side of every argument so that no matter where you fall, wherever your religious beliefs are or your political views or any of this stuff, you have one of them to fall under, to look up to be influenced by. Yes. XR says, what's the deal with Anonymous? Well, you should definitely talk to Aaron about that, because from what Aaron says, Anonymous was, a lot better back in the day. The original Anonymous, I guess, is different than the Anonymous of today. It's another thing that's been corrupted and infiltrated to an extent and demonized. But I would definitely suggest talking to Aaron about that. Jesse says, the right loves America, the left hates America. Jesse, the right and the left are both Satan, and Satan doesn't love America, except for the baby murder and the corruption. Like, neither one of them love America. And it's crazy that you are promoting this Hegelian dialectic right now and saying that one side is good and one isn't. All right. Faye says, do you believe dinosaurs did once exist? Definitely not as we are taught. As far as larger reptilian type creatures like dragons, absolutely exist. But this whole T-Rex joke with this huge head and really tiny arms and just, falling over on its head because it's so top, the whole T-Rex is just a joke. And other of the creatures that they give us are are not what they actually were, what they actually are. They hide the dinosaur or the dragons. They hide the real stuff and give us this fake stuff in place of that. So not really surprising, but all right. Aaron says Switzerland doesn't even use the HD anymore. They are so programmed they no longer need to use this. Switzerland is already conquered and under elite control. What do you mean by the HD? I'm not sure what the HD is. Mike said, I guess YouTube erased my Eric to buy comment. I didn't see it, Mike, but I also didn't. I mean, they must have not even let it go through at all, because sometimes they'll say the person retracted their comment. I don't even see that. So did you say a word that triggers them? I know if you just, change your words around, you'll probably be able to post the same comment in different words and not trigger the system. Hey, Tyler, how's it going? Aaron says Anonymous is a group of people who share similar ideals or a group of idealists who share common interests. Anonymous is not official. Anyone claiming to be is not anonymous. Thank you. I really appreciate your expertise on that. I saw your Facebook profile change too, so that was a cool picture. I like that. Jesse says, serious question, is Lori Lightfoot a human being? Who is Lori Lightfoot? Lori Lightfoot. I've seen some pictures of this creature in my page, in my group before. It's definitely an inverted demon. Creepy. That's the thing. Like, we're not actually dealing with fully human creatures, and like we're dealing with human hybrids and extremely demon-possessed human hybrids. Of that, the fact this person is a little boy who was severely abused as a child. When you sodomize a boy, that's like how you get demons into them, and they're. To just talk a little bit about this, there is a pedophile demon. You've seen the panda bear eyes, the Papa Bear, Nicki Minaj, the recent fake hero of the anti-vaxxers who has been involved with some rape allegations, literally has named their child Papa Bear after the pedophile demon. And truthers want to say, oh, we should support this. I'm like, you should support an active pedophile who has the audacity to nickname their child after a pedophile demon. Why aren't we hunting this person down? Like, I'm on the edge of my seat and ready to go. Like, this really makes me irritated. Like, anyways. So basically what I'm trying to say is they sodomize this pedophile demon into the child, and then the child, doesn't even have to be fully grown before they, that demon is in them, and they can start to then offend other children. Like, you can have children children having sex with other pedophiles, child predators. So I would really, for me personally, I'm going to homeschool my children, and they're going to be completely under my supervision, like at all times. You have to have so much trust to even let your kid go off with another kid. You have to trust that kid hasn't been abused, that they're not going to abuse your child. Like, it's a tough world out there, guys. Really. This Papa Bear demon, really twists their wires, and then they think that because it was done to them, there's justification for them to do it to others. They'll say, oh, it was done to me, and look at how I turned out. I'm fine. It's like, you're not fine. You sodomized children. That is not fine. Anyways. Sarah says that YouTube has been deleting his... Tyler said, came out as a flat earth to my family. Didn't go too well. Oh, well, I tried. Their reaction made me so sad. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that. My family, I mean, I'm sure that everybody's family, didn't react positively when they came out to flat earth, thinking that people have gone crazy, that, just really painting us in a bad light to them because of the fact that we have woken up and they haven't. I've tried to plant seeds with my own family, and, ultimately they say, why does it matter? I'm like, why does it matter? Why does who wins the Super Bowl matter? Like, the shape of our earth matters completely. Where we are, what we are, and why we are here are the three like most important questions that people need to be asking themselves. Otherwise, you're completely lost. You're completely deceived. Like, okay. Zare says YouTube has been deleting my comments too. That's irritating. Blue Hungward said, if you could speak to Trump, what would you have to say to her? That's an interesting question. I'll have to think about that for a little while, because ultimately it's like you're asking me what I would say to Satan. If I could say one thing to Satan, what would I say? Maybe a desperate plea for their soul, right? Like, do you care that your soul is this dark and getting darker, that you're deceiving humans, that you are corrupt? Like, do you care that you're a flipping clown? Do you care that you are the public sees you as a male, but you don't have a penis? They probably make fun of her a little bit for that too. It's like the FTMs kind of get the short end of the stick because, well, they're men without penises. They're a joke. Not that the MTFs aren't, they're a joke too, because they're tucking themselves and prancing around on stage like girls, like that's a clown. But ultimately they're Satan's favorite. They're the ones that get all of the fame and glory in the world. And like, so they have a lot, better time in Satan's army than the FTMs do. By the way, I like to call her Dickless Dawn. All right. Tyler said, I wouldn't say nothing. I just pull the trigger. Aaron says, Anonymous has no hierarchy or leader. We are from all walks of life. There are some who hack. Most are activists online and or offline. We have no official creed, only unofficial. Masks represent no division or indivision. We are all human, regardless of race, class, social status, belief, or non-belief, etc. I hope this helps. If you need more, look up unofficial anonymous creeds. Oh, that's cool. All right, let me see what else is going on here. Aaron says Ammon Bundy is running for governor. I would have to transvestigate them. I know that we have talked a little bit before, just kind of briefly, I mentioned about how, the 13 Illuminati families have that Bundy in there. And so it's for a while now, I've been questioning the whole Ted Bundy thing and basically kind of really heavily leaning towards it being a psyop, to discourage militias, the whole Lavoy, is his name Lavoy Finicum, the shooting, just to basically discourage militias from forming against the government, to scare us, and to program us in that manner. But I'm open to I'm open to investigating the person themselves and, making a judgment call on solely them, especially if they're an invert or not. You can never trust an invert no matter what truth they speak. So any of the truthers that you're listening to is like, investigate them thoroughly, investigate me thoroughly. I've made plenty of videos showing my hips. There's people out here. See my female flaring hips? Okay, that's a hip bone. Males don't have that. All right. I'm more than happily up for transvestigation because it's important that you know that I am a real girl and that I am what I say I am. I'm fighting for the golden age. And if you don't have that confidence, then we don't have an army. So Zare said, can you see if Mike Tyson's an invert because Muhammad Ali is? Yes. Mike Tyson is all of these big, even the fighters, UFC, a lot of, when I was down in San Diego, one of my friends was trying to watch this UFC fight, and I just I could not help myself. I'm like, wow, these are all inverted creeps. Why are this is just Satan punching himself in the face. Why do people like to watch this? Oh my gosh. And the reason, that you can have these really giant girls is because they're not human. They're actually descendants of the giant. They have this Nephilim DNA. So they're going to be, in general, larger than female humans. But then you add any testosterone or steroids that they're taking as well, and it's going to, they all oftentimes put off a really big tough guy persona, but then when it comes down to it, it's like they're literally paper thin. They don't have a penis. They're actually a girl with no, like, you might find a little bit of aggression. Like, you can find girls with aggression, but it's like, it's not going to be the same as if you were stepping up to a male. So it's pretty funny. Mike says, I believe that dinosaurs are a combination of artwork and a mix of real animal bones with giant bones. Yes, we live under a dome, so no meteors, no all life-ending impact, so no dinosaurs. Yes. As far as mixing the real animal bones with giant bones, that makes complete sense. I mean, they to promote evolution, they mixed different species together, right? They mixed baboon and ape together. They mixed chimpanzee and human together, like, to make these so-called fossils, transitional fossils, which turns out are all fake. So yes, evolution is not even possible. And if anybody needs information about that, then reach out to me. I made a pretty long post on Facebook before making all the little bullet points about how evolution isn't possible. So Shauna says that Mike Tyson is not an invert, but I disagree completely. Blue Hummingbird says Mike Tyson, I heard, transitioned himself into Serena Williams. Well, I do not believe that because Serena Williams is a biological male and Mike Tyson is a biological female, so they can't be the same person. There is a lot of confusion about that in the truther community, saying, like, one of the things that pops to mind is that they say, like, Princess Diana is Elton John's boyfriend or something. It's like Princess, or I don't know. I don't know the specific names. You probably know who I'm talking about. I'm actually thankful that I don't know some of these clowns' names because it's worthless. But anyways, it can't be the same person because one is a biological male and one is a biological female. Bruce Jenner is a double flip, born female, then transitioned to male, then went back to female. And we're seeing more of that. I think it was like Ellen Page or something that is also doing a double reverso. But they're coming out with invert pride. So they can, make this public transition and be all proud about it while saying, what, you're going to be mad at me for being the sex that I was created as? Oh, like, just another psyop. All right. Aaron says, yes, he is. T-Rex arms. Yes, T-Rex arms, and the breasts give them away all the time. Mike says, I'm actually working on in Manhattan, filming a mini-series on the life of Mike Tyson. I don't personally think he's an invert. I actually think he's a good soul, but I've been wrong before. Yeah. Understood how people obsess with sports ever since a kid. I always looked at as weird for thinking sports were a joke and completely irrelevant. Typical hive mind. Yes, give them their circus and peanuts and they're satisfied, right? Blue Hummingbird says, who is Christina Aguilera? Please tell me that she is a female. No, none of the so-called females that you have seen, none of the A-list celebrities are real females, except they're FTMs. Like, they're all MTFs. So any girl on the promoted screen that you are meant to lust after, it's a dude. Even in porn, if you haven't seen my Transvestigation 101, a porn stars are male video, I go through various biomarkers that anthropologists and others will look at on a skeleton to determine if it is a male or a female. This is the actual evidence for inverts, okay? And the MTFs that are in porn will actually chop up their penis and get it put inside of them and to make a manhole. It's really gross. They have to keep it open like constantly because it's a wound that's trying to heal, like real gross stuff. So anyways, Shauna, like I just said, the evidence on inverts is their biomarkers. Transvestigation 101, I go through all the biomarkers. You're free to go and look at other anthropologist books and see for yourself how they determine whether someone is a male or a female. Tyler says, now we totally evolved from nothing into slime. Mutations are a positive thing, don't you know, right? That's crazy. It's crazy how they've gotten people to believe this, but when you are a child and you're a blank slate, you'll believe anything. You'll believe that Santa Claus goes around the whole world and delivers presents down the chimneys that he can't even fit in. Like, children are so impressionable, and yeah. All right. Blue Hummingbird says, thank you for breaking that down to me. You're absolutely welcome anytime. Aaron says, Shauna Marie, we use forensic science in our groups. We do forensic investigations, sexting the bones to proven science. Absolutely. If you were a crime scene investigator and you came across charred remains, like no skin or just bone pieces, there's certain markers on those bones that you can determine if it is a male or a female. This is science. It's not some just theory. It's something that you can learn on yourself. Look, you have the World Wide Web available at your fingertips. So many, textbooks and even professors teaching on YouTube. Like the world is available for you. So ignorance at this point is willful. Okay. Blue Hummingbird says the males and females are not real on TV. Yes. Occasionally you will get like a real female in the background, maybe like passing by as the, inverts are having a conversation in the main part of the screen. But it's not that they're ever going to have a lead role for multiple reasons. Obviously it's not corrupting. And Satan doesn't get to play that character. All of these MTFs, he actually gets to play them. He is all of these MTFs dancing on stage, that's him. So he gets to play them, whereas the real girls, he can influence us, but he can't have that kind of control unless we start to invert, unless we become FTMs and start to become a deceiver. And then his control over our lives, his influence over our lives is greater because we're getting closer to him and farther away from our true selves, our creator, our guardian angel. Yeah. Mike the Mechanic says, so much for my Mike Tyson theory and on it, LOL. I did see him drop when he got punched in the balls once, LOL. Well, I mean, how easy is it for someone just to, okay, like I'm a girl and I don't even want to put myself in this situation because I would never even pretend to be a boy. I have no desire to be a boy. Like, no offense to guys, it's nothing personal. I want to be a mom, so I have no desire. But if you were a girl that was pretending to be a boy, it's like that getting hit there is gonna put a boy down, right? So then you just act it out. Yeah, it'd be really easy for that to happen. So Jesse says Fauciism is the new world order religion. I haven't seen her Fauci promote any actual religion, but I get what you mean about the, blindly following this supposed scientist / doctor / inverted clown. Mike said I'd invite. Mike, I didn't see any Eric Dubai comment though. Let me scroll. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, so it must not be coming through. All right. Tyler said, I advise everyone in this chat to stock as much beans and rice as you can. Right now, the zombies are about to realize the shortages are here and only going to get worse. Go check out your grocery. Yes, I did advise that earlier as well. I personally don't like beans, so I won't be stocking up on beans. But I do have like a lot of other food that can be stored. Pasta sauce in glass containers. Couscous is really easy. You just need some spices and you can make it into, pretty much anything. You don't even have to cook couscous. You can just add water and it'll absorb the water and get softer. I've buried, what else? I have stuff to make bread. I have stuff to make vegan cheeses. I actually have a special box with dessert stuff. I guess I was programmed by The Walking Dead Actually, I think it was actually Falling Skies, this post-apocalyptic like alien invasion type thing, and it was like the kid's birthday, and the parent I think someone ended up giving him a skateboard or something, but it really was like, wow, in that situation, I would want to be able to give whoever's birthday it is like a cake or like a special treat. So that's some of the stuff that I have packed myself. Some of the brownie mixes and stuff are vegan, and yeah. Okay. Let me see what's going on here. Aaron says, I picked up a university book on forensic anthropology, forensic science for $17. Nice. Look for the used books. They are so much cheaper than the brand new editions. You can prove it to yourselves. Yes, and I would also recommend just going on Google and typing in the book name and then doing PDF. And you can find so many free PDFs online. That's my go-to thing. Tyler says 250 plus container ships stacked up off the coast of Long Beach. Wow. There was a meme that went out, I think it was yesterday or something, that showed like, well, I guess I just saw it yesterday. I don't know when it went out, but it showed like a ton of ships on all of the coasts of the United States just being held up. There's videos going around of people in warehouses saying that they're deliberately being told not to ship things out. They're being told to sit on stuff. So yeah, it's definitely being done on purpose. So hopefully people are preparing, and like I said before, bury your supplies so they can't be taken from you. Mike the mechanic, your comment about Eric Dubai didn't come through, so I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe try again changing the words so that they'll let you. Faith said, would you like to have an at-home birth in the water or in the hospital? Definitely going to be avoiding doctors and hospitals the whole time completely. I don't want prenatal vitamins. I don't want ultrasounds. Ultrasounds are actually harmful for babies. No vaccines. I don't want a doctor involved at all. And if you go into the hospital, I've heard just horror stories of people that, wanted delayed cord clamping, which is where you don't clamp you leave the baby attached to the umbilical cord for an extended period of time. They've asked for it, and the doctor went through it right in front of their eyes. I've had people, talk about how the doctors and nurses harass them. Like they just went through this birthing experience and they're trying to recover. And now the doctors are nurses harassing them about circumcision and vaccines and eye goop. And it's just no, I don't want anything to do with that. And on top of the fact that, things can happen in hospitals, just, situations that kind of put you in a position where they force a C-section on you, and I'm not okay with that. I want to take my chances in the wild, like every other wild animal, in my home. But yeah, you get what I mean. Tyler said, I also get other grains. Beans are just cheap and have nutrients. Yes, if you like beans, by all means, go and stock up on a ton of beans, a ton of rice, if that's what you like. I personally don't, so don't come offer that to me, okay? I think it's called Harmony House. I can just look it up really quick. Harmony House. HarmonyHouseFoods.com. They have freeze-dried and dehydrated foods. They have bulk textured veggie protein. So I have some giant containers of vegan beef and vegan chicken. They also, I think, have ham or something, but they also have fried, I was gonna say freeze-dried fruits and vegetables as well, which are really pricey. But for my family, when they come, I want to still be able to give them the stuff that they're addicted to, but not letting them have animals on my property. It's even when crap hits the fan, I'm not going to turn and go non-vegan, especially because I know that I can go days without food. I can go days. I've gone 48 hours, 2 days without water or food, and I've gone 8 days without food. So it's there's no breaking point where it's I would need to eat an animal. So anyways, rice and beans and iodized salt, not the greatest, but it'll keep us alive. Yes. Been fasting sun up to sundown while doing manual labor all day. Wow, that's really cool. Noticed a massive difference by doing this. Aaron said, Jesse, if you take dry beans and soak them for 24 hours or longer, you only have to cook them on low for 30 to 45 minutes. I find when I make them this way, I don't get as gassy. Okay, well, thanks for the information. My ex-husband really liked beans, and when we first went vegan, he would want me to make refried beans or something. I'm I don't even know how to make beans. I don't like beans. I'm not going to eat these things. So if it turns out that they don't taste good, it's not my fault because I don't eat this stuff. Okay. Blue hummingbird. Aaron says he loves rice and beans too. I love rice, but yeah, not so much beans. Blue hummingbird said natural births are classics and are the best in my opinion. Yes, absolutely. Mike the Mechanic says, I said I became vegan and learned about early Satanism watching a video Eric Devine made on BitChute about. Okay, yeah, the last word would have probably been what kept them from posting the comment. That's very interesting. The only thing really from Eric Dubai that I can't even really say that I watched it, is like I woke up to Flat Earth in 2015. And the first thing that I really saw was Under the Dome full documentary. And I came up to find out years later that was actually by Mark Sargent. But I watched the 200 proofs that Earth is not a globe. And, I just accepted Flat Earth right away. It was not something that I needed to get stuck up on. Like, okay, move on. That's never like my focus. So I never really got into any following any of the personalities of Flat Earth. And, I didn't need more. It's like, okay, the Earth is flat. Let's move on to something better. And ultimately I'm looking for like the spiritual truths. So that's always been my focus. Aaron says, bean salads, mushroom, fried rice with garlic and onion. Good this time of year. Fried rice with garlic and onion. Okay, then. That sounds really good, actually. Mike the Mechanic says they really didn't want me to mention the title, apparently. Yeah. Did the title have the guy? Well, I don't consider the person with an H a guy. I think it was a Rothschild puppet that was used to basically in the same way that Trump is being used. Like, they try to say that Hitler stood against the banking system and the Federal Reserve and stuff. Well, I think it was just a controlled opposition show. They're not going to let a real human get to that much influence without being controlled. As you see, people like me were really suppressed. We're shadow banned. We're not promoted. We're not fighting the Federal Reserve on a Federal Reserve platform, having mass crowds like surrounding us. Like, it's just not how it works, unfortunately. And along with that, the current state of Israel does not even fulfill biblical prophecies of what the future Israel would be, where there's, the people in the actual state would be worshiping the Creator and doing His will, rather than the Satanists that are running the place now. Aaron says H1 Hitler. Hitler was just said, I don't know hopefully I don't get banned for saying the name. If you can't type it, then maybe you can't say it. Anyways, was a descendant of the Rothschild dynasty. Absolutely. They funded him first, then the Allies. Yep. Tyler says 5,000 pounds worth if you need some. I'm food rich. I don't care. Well, I know it's good not to live in fear. Come and find me and my stuff. But like I was saying earlier, it's a lot easier if they just pick us off one by one, defending our own supplies, rather than, hiding the supplies and actually making it through the confiscations and then being able to come together as an actual army to fight them. Renee says, something is happening. I already posted 2 comments. They didn't go through. That is really irritating, guys. I'm really sorry. YouTube definitely doesn't want us to connect. They want to discourage people from commenting. I guess I have deleted 1 comment, but that was actually Jesse's comment. So it wasn't beneficial to the conversation. But other than that, Tyler says they are censoring very, very hard. A lot of people are waking up. Yes. Mike Mechanic says they basically force you to get a C-section nowadays, right? I was actually looking up the differences between the cost of a C-section and the cost of a regular birth. It's like, I think it was thousands of dollars more, and it's a major surgery. It's like, it's not only costs more, but it is a major surgery. So you're trying to recover from this major surgery. You're taking medications to numb the pain. That's going to be in your breast milk. You're going to be trying to recover from this painful procedure while you take care of a newborn baby. It's like so many things to discourage women from being a mother, to make the whole process a flipping nightmare so that they never want to do it again. And then they tell the women that have had C-sections, if you ever want to have a baby again, you're going to have a C-section again, which is not true. Not true at all. Okay. they do mess up. They cut your muscles and stuff, but there have been women that have had a C-section for their first kid and said, screw you, to the medical establishment, and had their second baby perfectly normal and healthy. Like Jesse, Patrick Steer. Yes, that is a man in a dress who has promoted drinking piss. Tyler says, I think World War II had a lot to do with whatever they were doing in Antarctica between the 40s and 60s, when the government started pushing the space narrative to hide Antarctica and extra terrain. They are hidden all over, but we have, let's start with the first one. Yes, that wouldn't surprise me if they were doing it to distract. But, obviously every now and then they have these wars for various reasons, to keep control, to divert our attention. Like as we have this uprising in humanity actually waking up, we can see that they're trying to fabricate a war between China and like pretty much the rest of the world, right? When they're trying to keep telling us China virus, China virus, China virus. And they're, especially in the US, pushing so much anti-China shit. Like they want us to go to war. And it's going to be humans killing humans because of the satanic inverts that are influencing them. It's not an actual war that our souls are behind. They obviously can push so much hatred and influence humans to hate each other to where they feel like their soul is really into it. But it's like, at the end of the day, you're fighting a war against another human that had nothing to do with what the Satanists at the top are doing. If we want to actually fight someone, we need to join together as an army and go and fight the elites, like take them out of positions of power, not especially the people in China that are so oppressed by their government. Like they need us to save them, not to go and fight them. Tyler says they are hidden all over, but we have no army. How do we all actually come together? You're right, everyone alone, we are in trouble. Well, I've been telling everyone that follows me, it's like if you prepare and actually survive through the confiscations, once things actually start to go south, then we meet together at Mount Shasta, the root chakra, the root of the problem, and then come together and stand together. That's my plan. That's the only plan that I have actually heard that comes from somebody that's not an invert. It's not a sit back and trust the plan Q thing. It's like, no, prepare for what is coming, get your shit together, and then get ready, have a plan to ultimately come to Mount Shasta. If I was in another location, I would be figuring out how I could get preferably an RV to drive, right? Then you can have all of your stuff in the RV. You have a literal home on wheels to get from one side of the country to another, and then to stay in until further development happens. So I definitely encourage people to get ready for what is coming. It's not a sit back and trust the plan, not a sit back and watch your TV as Satanists pretend to arrest and execute each other. Like I've had people promoting this whole, this person's been arrested and executed, but you can look at pictures of them from like 2016 compared to 2021, and they have the same eyes, they got the same bone structure, the same teeth, the same freckles. It's the same exact person. In this Q psyop is somehow convincing people that these people have been arrested and executed. But then again, we're talking about people that were literally deceived to think that they live on a giant spinning ball as children. So it's like humans are extremely gullible and will literally believe everything, especially this whole save the children thing, the passion that we all have to save the innocents, putting that behind it and making that like the base of this Trump war, right? Like they really get emotions involved. All right. I'm probably going to finish up here, guys. I have really appreciated our time together. Mike says, Eric Dubai has many videos, not just on flat earth, but everything, mind, body, and soul. Yes. I personally don't trust Eric as far as I could throw them. I think it's an invert, and that's why they're promoted and they live like on a military base in another country or something. So yeah. Anyways, Aaron says, Tyler, the Nazis had a base up there and it was very secret. Bird was a Freemason, though, so we can't expect much truth from him, unfortunately. However, something is up with the Arctic, 100%. Yeah. It'll be interesting once we can actually freely travel to go down there and see. I know that I've seen videos of people like on Google Maps or something. They went in the middle of Antarctica, and it was actually like a tropical paradise. Like, it wasn't frozen at all. Like, they try to tell us it's like solid ice and freezing, and like, it's a little bit suspicious. I definitely want to look into that, especially with these words, the Arctic and the Antarctic, like the cold and the Antarctic being cold or being hot, the opposite of that. Something that just things that have gone through my mind. Obviously, I don't have any solid evidence until I can travel for myself. So we'll see. Tyler said California is going to be extremely hot, not talking about temperature. Yes. Well, there are a lot of fires here, and there is a map that has been leaked by the Navy that shows a lot of the coasts actually underwater. Obviously, the Navy needs to know more than anybody, right, where the land meets the sea, and they leak things. They put things in programming to warn us ahead of time so that they can say, we warned you and you didn't do anything, so your blood's not on my hands. That's your own fault, right? I've posted that on my YouTube channel, so anyone that wants to check that out, please do. Aaron says QAnon is not anonymous. # anonymous, not for sale. Yes. It is interesting how they kind of, mesh those two. Like, they try to take over the anonymous crowd and gather them in with their Q nonsense. Mike says, my sister had 7 kids. Wow. 5 and then 2 more 6 years later, and then completely changed everything at the hospital. And she had to fight tooth and nail not to have a C-section. Wow. That's so sad. Yeah. They don't respect people's birthing plans, and they're trained in medical malpractice. So anyone who wants my advice, avoid doctors and nurses like the plague. They might have good hearts. They might mean well, but they are clueless about natural healing. They aren't going to lead you down a path to where your mind, body, and soul are really being healed. They are trained to put Band-Aids over it, to prescribe pills that'll take away the symptoms while the underlying problem continues on and kills you. Like, if you have a headache or a pain or something, it's your body telling you that something's wrong, right? And then if you just take a medicine that'll stop the headache, it's like something is still wrong. You just don't feel the headache anymore, right? So they're trained to pop pills, to put Band-Aids over, to chop you up. Nothing to do with real healing. So, yeah. Tyler said exactly what I did. Bought a 30-foot Class C RV bus. That's awesome. And you don't have to apologize for spamming the comments. We all appreciate the conversation, and especially me. I mean, yeah, I'm happy to connect with you guys in this format. Aaron says we support no political side or even our own in regards to Anonymous. We believe in an entire new system based on human values and morals instead of money and corruption and classes. That is awesome. And obviously the future, the golden age, is going to be, more about that, where human values and righteousness and stuff is actually promoted. It's not this, I'm not against capitalism, but when it's like your sole focus is only making money, getting rich, getting to the top, is like the morals take a back seat to that, right? And in the golden age, it's like people are taken care of. There's no need to stress over putting food on the table when, there's going to be fruit trees everywhere and like a paradise, right? So it's definitely something to look forward to in the golden age. But I am getting ready to wrap this up here, guys. I've had a great time with you, and I'll be back on Wednesday at 3:33. I'm banned from Facebook, but I will still be doing the dry fast tomorrow, Monday morning, starting at 8 a.m. Mount Shasta time, PST. No matter where you are, if you would join, I would really appreciate that. And I'm here supporting you. Like I said, I'm banned from Facebook, so I can't actually post, but I am going to be doing the fast, and hopefully you will join with me. If you can't make it 24 hours, that's okay. Have patience with yourself and build up to it over time. Any baby step that you're taking in the right direction is something that you should be proud of, and I'm proud of you as well. So, for all of you who have been fasting with me, I appreciate that. And for all of you who are going to fast with me tomorrow, I appreciate that as well. Let me know so that I can encourage you and walk along this path of purification, path to purification with you. I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God and the goddess bless you.